Hello students, welcome to APG Pathshala. I am Dr. Ashish Sahajpal, Assistant Professor from University Business School, Punjab University, Regional Center, Ludhiana. Today, we are going to discuss about module Business Process Reengineering and Reverse Engineering under the paper Management Information System. After completing this module, the students will be able to understand the basic concept of business process reengineering, understand the need of reengineering, how the concept is useful to organization, the underlying objectives in BPR and the process involved, understanding the fundamentals and the need of reverse engineering, overview of successful implementation of business process reengineering and reverse engineering cases in India. In today's dynamic marketplace, competition is continuously increasing with respect to price, quality of product and services, and promptness of delivery. New developments, upgradation, removal of international barriers, technological innovation causes competition to intensify. All these changes impose the need for organizational transformation, where the entire processes and organization climate and organization structures are changed. Companies can no longer compete by designing, manufacturing, and selling a single product and manufacturing that product in advance to handle anticipated demand. Today's sophisticated customer demand products specifically tailored to their needs when they need them. Business process reengineering advocates that enterprises go back to basic and re-examine their very roots. It doesn't believe in small improvements, rather than it aims at total reinvention. Business process reengineering involves change in structures and in processes within the business environment. The entire technological, human, and organizational dimensions may be changed in BPR. First time, the reengineering was defined by M. Hammer in late 1980s as the fundamental rethinking and radical redesign of business processes to generate dramatic improvement in critical performance measures such as cost, quality, service, and speed. In context of information system, the main aim of aligning information system with business goal is to produce the best possible results using processed that are central to the organization while eliminating those that are not central. Let us take an opening case of Taco Bell. Taco Bell, the American fast food chain, eliminates layers of management and redefined nearly every job in their operational processes. It implemented a kitchenless restaurant, shifted itself from a manufacturing to a retail service restaurant, and proposed the idea of alternative points of distribution and new application of technology. At the Taco Bell restaurants, the food ingredients are prepared when ordered for customer consumption. Taco Bell cites the following results: greater quality, control, better employee morale, fewer employee accidents and injuries due to preparation task off-site, big saving, and more time to focus on customer business processes. Currently, they are redefining how to deliver their food services by taking their food services to places where people gather, such as dining centers, schools, universities, airports, and stadiums. Let us now look upon that how business process reengineering can be applied to organizations. When British Telecom announced their business plans, all competitors were eager to find out who would be the next CEO of the organization. To the surprise of all, the new CEO was the customer. The company has decided to transform all the operations of the organization the way customer wanted them to operate. The strategic goal was to implement business process reengineering to provide customer-oriented services. Business process reengineering is a technique used to implement this type of organizational structure. While implementing business process reengineering, the organization essentially need to, number one, enable the role of information technology. This enables employees, vendors, partners, and suppliers to easily operate as a team using internet, extranet, workflow, and groupware application despite being in remote and groupware application despite being in remote locations. There is empowering people, enabling people the ability to do their work using the right information, tools, training, and authority they need. Next is providing information. Integration with databases and data repositories help in analysis and report generation for business critical information. The next important thing is providing the tools. With the right tools, business plans arrive in a consistent electronic format, permitting consolidation by a computer. This leaves the analyst free to do the more productive work of analyzing the quality of the plan. Then is looking into the training part. Information systems are designed to provide the information needed to support desired work practices. They are often used for training and development, as shown by an expert system and a decision stimulator. They sometimes provide new and unique training methods. Eliminating unproductive use of time. Functional units can best focus on their result-oriented activities than be occupied in administrative and clerical tasks. Another important aspect to be taken into consideration is eliminating unnecessary use of paper. Data processing is enhanced if data is available in digital format. It makes data easier to analyze, easier to copy or transmit, and easier to display in a flexible format. Lastly, easier record keeping. The basic data processing task of capturing, transmitting, storing, retrieving, manipulating, and displaying data helps minimize burden of record keeping. Now let us look upon the objectives of business process reengineering. The three main objectives are redesigning, retooling, and reorchestrating. It forms the key components of business process reengineering that are essential for an organization to focus on the outcome that it needs to achieve. The different aspects which we need to look upon under these three objectives, that is redesign, retool, and reorchestra, are, when we are talking about redesign, we need to look upon is we need to simplify, standardize, empower, measure, and look upon the groupware when we talk about the redesign. As far as to retool, what we need to retool is the network, the intranets, the extranets, the workflow. Whereas on the other hand, in order to meet the objective of reorchestra, what we need to work on is the processes, information technology, and human resources. Let us now look upon the basic objectives of business process reengineering. The elimination of unnecessary processes. At As time passes, organizations tend to add newer processes without deleting the old ones. As a result, the organization become process-oriented rather than result-oriented. BPR aims at eliminating unnecessary processes by asking the question how relevant the process is to core activities of the organization. There is the customer focus. The processes are designed to customer centric as to add value for the customer. The next, what we need to look upon is how to reduce the cycle time. BPR helps in reducing the number of steps involved in a process, hence reducing cycle time. BPR enables the organization to increase its customer value, where customer value could be explained as quality divided by cost plus service divided by time. Flexibility. Being customer-centric enables to spot weakness and adapt to new requirement of the market. Quality. The level of quality is always the same, controlled and monitored by the processes. This ensures the key performance indicators are met. And lastly, the innovation. Leadership through imaginative change, providing to organization competitive advantage. Let us throw some light on the processes involved in business process reengineering. Business processes are characterized by three elements: the input, processing, and the output. The problematic part of the process is processing. Business process reengineering mainly intervenes in processing part, which is re-engineered in order to become less time and money consuming. The figure 2 illustrates the component of business process. When we're talking about input, it requires data such as customer inquiries, and processing involves through several stages utilizing time and money, and in the outcome what we talk about is delivery of expected result. So collectively these are the components of what we talk about the business process. The various methods of business process reengineering model can be divided into three stages. The very first stage, envision stage. The existing strategy is reviewed with business processes, and processes for improvement are targeted and information technology opportunities are identified. The second stage, that is the initiation stage, project teams are assigned, performance-oriented goals, project planning, and employee notifications are set. The diagnosis stage, documentation of processes and sub-processes takes place in terms of various process attributes like activities, resources, communication, roles, information technology, and cost. Whereas the redesign stage, the new process design is developed by devising process design alternatives and through brainstorming and creative techniques. Whereas the restructuring stage, management technique changes occur to ensure smooth migration to the new process responsibilities and human resource roles. While in the evaluation stage, the new process is monitored to determine if goals are met and examine total quality program. The following table summarizes the various changes that the organization undergoes when applying business process reengineering. The changes in the world of work from conventional to business process reengineering. The functional departments now has to focus on process teams, the simple tasks to empowered employees, control people to multidimensional works, training of employee, moving towards education of employees, compensation for skill and time spent to what we talk about compensation for results, increment based on promotion and seniority, now transforms into performance-related bonuses. Career progression based on ability. Career progression is now based on performance. Protective organizational culture. Productive organizational culture. Managers supervise and control. Manager coach and advise. Hierarchical organizational culture. Now we are talking about the horizontal or flat culture. Separation of duties and function towards cross-functional teams. Linear and sequential process to parallel process. And from mass production, what we have been talking about is mass customization. So in such a way, the conventional working is transformed to bring in an overall business process reengineering. The first is strategic cell. Consider how important the process proposed for reengineering is to the organization in achieving long-term strategic competitive advantage in its chosen marketplace. The second dimension, that is the competitive, non-competitive, relates to how competitively the process being considered for reengineering is currently being performed compared to the external competitive marketplace. This relates primarily to the cost of the process, but could also be extended to response time, etc. Putting the two elements together gives 4 possible outcomes: leave as is, needs discussion, outsource, and the fourth is to re-engineer. Let us take another case in order to understand the implementation of business process re-engineering, the success story of State Bank of India. State Bank of India is a banking behemoth with nearly 18,354 branches in India and another 191 spread overseas across 36 countries of the world. It is not only the oldest and the largest public sector bank in India, but the second largest in the world in terms of number of branches. State Bank of India began the largest implementation of a centralized core system ever undertaken in the banking industry to compete with its private sector counterparts. Core banking solution offers a comprehensive, integrated, modular solution catering to banks' need and multiple business segments. Information and communication technology has brought a transformational change in banking operations and payment systems in banks. Banks have benefited a lot by this in terms of reduction in operational cost and efficiency improvement. With core banking solution, banks effectively meet challenges of reducing operational cost and establishing customer intimacy. It can enable banks to reduce the time to market for new products, whereby staying ahead in the competition and fulfilling compliance mandates. Banks can also manage higher transaction volumes and increase customer expectation with ease. The implementation of Tata Consultancy Services (TCS), banks core banking at the State Bank of India (SBI) and its affiliate bank represents the largest centralization core system implementation ever undertaken. Although SBI initially planned to convert only 3,300 of its branches, it was so successful that it expanded the project to include all of the more than 14,600 SBI branches and its affiliated bank branches. The pillars of business process reengineering project at SBI were branch redesign, alternative delivery channel, customized products, and centralized processing centers. State Bank of India objective for its project to modernize core system included the delivery of new product capabilities to all customers including unbanked areas. The next was the unification of processes across the bank to realize operational efficiencies, improve customer service levels, provision of a single customer view of all accounts, the ability to merge the affiliated banks into SBI, support for all SBI existing products to reduce customer wait time in branches, reversal of customer attrition trends, integration of various technologies to CBS. The banking technologies integrated to core banking systems at SBI were automatic teller machine, bringing in smart cards, implementing internet banking, bringing in mobile banking, MICR and automated check clearing, FRIT technology, and financial inclusion. So let us now talk about reverse engineering. Reverse engineering is the process of designing, manufacturing, assembling, and maintaining products and systems. There are two types of engineering: forward engineering and backward engineering. Forward engineering is the traditional process of moving from high-level abstraction and logical design to the physical implementation of a system. In certain cases, there may be physical parts, products without any technical details, such as drawings, bills of material, or without engineering data. Whereas the reverse engineering is the process of extracting knowledge or design information from anything man-made and reproducing it based on the extracted information. The process often involves disassembling something, a mechanical device, electronic component, computer program, or biological, chemical, or organic matter, and analyzing its components and working in details. Reverse engineering is also defined as the process of obtaining a geometric computer-aided design, that is CAD model, for 3D points acquired by scanning, digitizing existing parts and products. The process of digitally capturing the physical entities of a component referred to as reverse engineering. People can learn by simply taking things apart and putting them back together again. Reverse engineering is used for many purposes, like as a learning tool, as a way to take compatible products that are cheaper than what's currently on the market, for making software interpolate more effectively, or to bridge data between different operating systems or databases, and to uncover the undocumented feature of commercial products. So let us look at when does the need for reverse engineering arises. Reverse engineering can be applied to various industries ranging from software, computing, manufacturing, logistics, military equipment, academics, and where building new products seems more economically viable. It is of paramount importance to understand why a need for this technique arises from an industry viewpoint. The very first, interoperability. Reverse engineering can be used when a system is required to interface to another system and deduce how they negotiate. Commercial espionage. Learning about an enemy's or competitor's later research by stealing or capturing a prototype and dismantling it. The next is to improve the documentation shortcomings. Reverse engineering can be done when documentation pertaining to design, production, operation, or maintenance has shortcoming and original designers are not able to improve it. In case of obsolescence, often seen to have been designed on obsolete proprietary system and can no longer be obtained. One way to incorporate the functionality into new technology is to reverse engineer the existing chip and then redesign it using newer tools. Outdated military equipment that is no longer supported by their OEMs can be utilized this way. Then is the software modernization. The process of updates, if not sufficiently documented, gets lost over time. This renders softwares to get updated. Reverse engineering is generally needed in order to understand the as-is state of existing or legacy software in order to properly estimate the effort required to migrate system knowledge into to-be state. Duplicating unlicensed, unapproved software by creating clones to remove copy protection, circumvention of access restrictions. Academics, reverse engineering for learning purpose to understand the key issues of an unsuccessful design and subsequently improve the design. And lastly, the competitive intelligence, understand what one's competitor is actually doing versus what they say they are doing. Let us now talk about the benefits of reverse engineering. Reverse engineering is the process of discovering the technological principles of a device, object, or system through analysis of its structure, function, and operation. It involves taking something apart and analyzing its working in detail to make a new device or a program that does the same thing without copying anything from the original and learning the design of the object by studying its implementation. Reverse engineering is the process of learning the design of an object by studying its implementation. Understanding few vendors provides models to help understand their application. However, the database structure is often there for the asking, and one can use reverse engineering to construct own models. Models can help understand both the scope and content of a vendor project. One can set aside the sales claim and better judge capabilities and limitations. Negotiation. The vendor emphasize their strengths. Reverse engineering makes one aware of some of their weaknesses, empowering to have a stronger hand in negotiation. Communication. Reverse engineering can make it easier to talk with vendors. The vendors may have their own assumption, architecture, and mindset, all of which provides a context for their explanation of an application. Not being familiar with the context, it can be difficult to understand what they mean. With reverse engineering, one understands the vendor's mind and can converse with their terminology. Data conversion. There is often legacy data to migrate to the vendor product. It is essential to understand both the source and target before converting data. Now, let us throw some light onto the success stories of reverse engineering in India. Reverse engineering your business plan, success starts with the end. In the book Start at the End, Dave Livesey details how to reverse engineer businesses plan by first identifying goals and then methodologically determine the assets and the financial matrix that needs to achieve them. Long before Make in India became a popular slogan, the Tata Group decided to launch vehicles that were designed in India. The Engineering Research Center at the Tata Motor campus in Pune is a beehive of activities as young engineers and designers work on 20 different engine platforms with 250 variants of vehicles. It is one of the most modern in Indian automobile industry, featuring state-of-the-art equipment and facilities such as noise, vibration, and harshness lab and a crash test lab. Tracking back to 1977, despite having to invest in all that designing and production, Tata Motor had a license to produce just 50,000 commercial vehicles a year. The cost of the truck was nearly 1 lakh, and the margin earned on each vehicle was just 1,000. They made everything from conveyor belts to cranes to machine tools. Consequently, cost consciousness became the focus. Reverse reengineering also became the norm. If ERC has to produce a gearbox, drawings from the Daimler-Benz era would be studied thoroughly, and Mercedes-Benz truck gearbox would be torn apart and analyzed. Eventually, one of the senior executives had built an import library comprising components and parts that have been picked up from various manufacturers in Europe. Now, engineers would interact with truck owners and drivers to find out how they would like their vehicle to be redesigned. This enabled Tata Motor to manufacture for Indian market with a customer-centric focus. Let us take another example. How does Indian engineers has transferred Harman? Not an household name in India, Harman International is familiar to some with its brand JBL. The audio system line owing high-end audio equipment brand like Harman, Kardon and Mark Levinson. Every single Disney theme park use Harman audio systems, as do some of the world's best performing arts venues like the Lincoln Center and the John F. Kennedy Center, the massive indoor arena like the Madison Square Garden, the world's biggest broadcasting unit use it. The Grammys is done end-to-end with Harman, and it's the infotainment system for 80% of the world's luxury cars: Lexus, BMW, Audi, Daimler, Mercedes, Bentley, Ferrari, and Porsche. Initially, 90% of the world's cars could not afford a Harman system. Their CEO saw the opportunity to try and change the cost structure using India's software expertise. In his word, if you challenge Indians and say, here's the product, take this, reverse engineer it, bring down the cost to a third of what it is, give me the same feature, but you can take out one or two useless features that cost too much, but give me 5 extra features that the people would like, they will do it. The strategy worked wonders. When launched in 2009, the first customer was Toyota. The first time that the Toyota has awarded its infotainment system to a non-Japanese Tier 1 supplier. Today, the platform is on numerous brands globally, including Fiat, Chrysler, General Motors, Volkswagen, Hyundai, Kia, Tata Motors, and even Harley Davidson. So students, let's now summarize what we have learned in this module. To survive in a limited market with increasing competition requires incremental change. To excel takes restructuring. Feasibility of operations is further hampered by limited resources and funds available. Hence, breaking the conventional norms of production and inculcating new techniques is the need of the hour. In business processes, reengineering, companies start with a blank sheet of paper and rethink existing processes to deliver more value to the customer. Reverse engineering is now widely used in numerous applications such as manufacturing, industrial design, jewelry design, and reproduction. Reverse engineering is to compress product development cycle time. In the intensely competitive global market, manufacturers are constantly seeking new ways to shorten lead time to market a new product. Thank you.